Hello and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation with me, your host, Owen James, channel that brings you all the latest Rangers news. Right, look, I'm not going to pretend that things are great at this moment in time. 9 points behind Celtic and Aberdeen. Form's not great. Performances domestically are poor. Managers under pressure. There's a lot of, shit around the team at this moment in time. And look, things are not great. But there's a saying, isn't it? Every cloud has a silver lining. That's possibly there. So I've been sat this morning, day off, trying to think of some positives, some good things that we can kind of cling on to, because if you don't have something positive to cling on to, you can go mad. I mean, quite frankly, lose the plot. And I've kind of come up with 5 reasons for hope, 5 players that could make a difference to this team. Now, they always say, don't they, that with a football team, you need a strong spine. That's what they talk about, isn't it? That you need a strong spine. You need the core of your team to be tough, to be good, to be quality, to have skill, to have tackle in different qualities, goal scoring, tackling, creativity, etc., etc. So that's what we need. That's what we've got to have going forward. And I'll be honest with you, I think and I think obviously a lot of this depends on the manager. Of course it does. Making the right decisions as to team selection, choosing the right players, putting the right players into the right positions, giving the players the chance to really excel and to really kind of, show the very best of themselves. Because the worry is, the real concern is that if we don't put players in their best positions and give the players the best possible chance to actually excel, to actually show the very best of themselves, then it's all kind of for nothing in a way, isn't it? It's all kind of, it's all kind of not going to work. It's all going to kind of fall apart a little bit. So look, I've come up with an idea. So I've come up with a team and I've come up with 5 players that could possibly give us hope going forward. I mean, let's start with at the back. Now, look, I'm not, and just as a huge shock, I'm not going to mention CD9 and I'm not going to mention Tav, both of whom should not be in the team if we want to win games and we want to play well. Neither of those should play. But Dejan Sterling. Right, so let's start with Dejan Sterling. Reason to be cheerful, reason to have hope. Dejan Sterling, right back, looks quality. The guy looks quality. He does all the things you need a modern right back to do. He's big, he's quick, he's strong. He tracks back. He tackles well. He covers round. He covers. He doesn't get caught out of position. He can put a ball in the box, having obviously using his experience in playing winger. And when he played on the other Thursday, when he was playing out in Olympiacos for the 52 minutes he was on the field, he was one of the best players on the pitch, which kind of made the whole reason to drop him for Sunday and put back in Captain Useless a little bit sort of inexplicable. So Dejan Sterling, I think, if Clement shows some common sense, if Clement shows, a desire to actually keep his job and put Sterling in at right back and goes forward with Sterling at right back, that gives you really good, solid power. Now, the other thing that has shown, and if you look at the game against Olympiacos on Thursday and compare it with the game on Sunday, Václav Černý was far more effective in the game on Thursday. Why? Because he wasn't having to slow down to allow Tav to catch him up and overlap him. Because Tav is slow. He isn't constantly having to cover back for James Tavernier and fill in the gaps that Tavernier leaves, because Sterling doesn't leave those gaps. Sterling tracks back. He goes backwards and forwards. He's not slow. Černý doesn't have to slow down. You can get a better performance from Václav Černý when he hasn't got to play with James Tavernier behind him. Playing with Dejan Sterling behind him gets a better level of performance out of Václav Černý. So Dejan Sterling, my first reason for hope going forward, if he's played at right back and if he's used correctly. Right, let's move into the midfield. I don't think there's any surprise in this young man here. Absolutely outstanding. Absolute different class, this lad. I think he's a huge reason to be, to be cheerful, a reason to be positive. I mean, he's been, I think, the player of the season so far. He really has. He's been just different class with the way he's played. He's done fantastic job in there. And I think also, he's got the legs as well to get forward. He provides bite as well. And him and Raskin are like little Rottweilers in that midfield. They tear into people. They provide a bit of bite, a bit of nastiness, something we've kind of been missing over the last couple of seasons. And the other thing is that Barron gives a lot more energy and a lot more forward motion when Raskin's playing, because Raskin kind of sits and allows Barron to go forward a little bit more. I feel that Barron's much better when he's taken away from that restrictive 6 role and given the chance to use that energy he's quite clearly got to put legs into the midfield, to put the ability to get around the park. Something that's often let us down against Celtic has been that inability to get around the park, to have the legs to get around, the legs to get in amongst McGregor and Hatate and the other one whose name escapes me now. So overall, Barron, I think, has been different class this season. He's been quality this season. He's been one of the real standouts this season. And I think if you're playing him and Raskin in midfield with someone like Bajrami ahead of them, then you've got the ability there to actually have a midfield that is creative, but has bite, a midfield that has the legs, a midfield that has the talent to create and do things for the team and generate chances, which is something we badly need to do, which of course then relies on having a striker that can actually take the chances, which at the moment we don't have. Okay, let's move it on. Of course, that has to link in to Nicholas Raskin. I think Raskin, since he's come back from injury, has been absolutely excellent. He really has. He's had bite. He's used the ball well. He's got stuck in. He's had good, he's done the recovery side of the game very well. He sat at the base of that midfield. He's really, allowed Barron to become a different type of player and a better player in a way with him alongside of him. So I think having Raskin and Barron in there is a massive positive, and again gives us reasons to really think positively. It gives us a much more mobile midfield. It gives us a midfield with more bite, a midfield with more ball ability, and 2 players that are still developing, 2 players that have still got room to improve. So, very much what we're seeing at the moment, for those of you I know who've criticised Raskin's use of the ball in recent games, they've still got room to improve. They've still got room to get better. So, this is something that will continue to get better and continue to improve with these 2. But they do look an effective partnership going forward. The other positive obviously has to be Nadem Bami. I mean, Bami, has been excellent. Well, not excellent. He's been good, shall we say, since coming into the team. I think he's suffered a little bit because he's been played out of position. I know he can play on the left. I get that. He can play on the left-hand side. However, he is better when he's played in that 10 role. He's far more effective. He can play in little passes. He can play in little moves. He can take shots. He's not afraid to have a go. He's not afraid to try something. He's not afraid to try and go past the player. He's all the things you need in a 10. Now, he's made 13 appearances for Rangers so far, scored 3 goals, 1 assist, which on the face of it may not appear particularly impressive, but has been in a struggling team and has been played out of position. And I just feel that if you move Nadem Bami back into his position, back into his position where, you get the best out of him, where, when he played in Italy, that's where they used him. And that's where they got the best out of him, by using him in that position. He was quality there. He really was. And that's where we need to be using him. And Clement needs to stop playing him out of position. This is a talented player. This is a player who can, produce something from nothing. This is a player who has the talent to do that. So for me, you've got to be looking at using him in his correct role and getting the best out of him, in that role. So for me, Nadem Bami, used as a 10, can really bring hope to Rangers. Now, if we're going to go the 4-2-3-1, we're going to use Barron and Raskin there as the 2 sitters, the pivot, and then Bami as the 10. I think that gives us a much more effective midfield, a much more dynamic midfield, a much more creative midfield. And when you're playing against some of these teams in Scotland that just low block constantly, you need someone with the creativity of a Bami in that 10 to try and unlock that door. Okay, last reason, positive, Deno. Right, this is going to get me some criticism because I know a lot of you don't like him. But this is a guy who scores goals. He does score goals, right? He's got a better goal scoring record across his career than Cyril Dessers. Okay, I'm not talking about Rangers before someone goes, no, Dessers has scored more goals than him. No, he hasn't. Not across his career per 90 minutes. XG is better with Deno. Okay, Ajax, right? He scored 9 in 20. He scored 16 in 34 in 20 at 20. That's 1 in 2. He's got 18 goal contributions in 48 at Feyenoord. His record overall across all of his time is better than Dessers. Okay. The other things that Deno brings, apart from the goal scoring side of things, is his movement. His movement is better than Dessers. The way he's able to exploit spaces, to take defenders away, to generate space for other players. Reference back to the semi-final, reference back to Bajrami's goal. He pulls 4 players out of position with 1 run, allowing Bajrami to go through and score. he just is a more creative player. A more player can link play a lot better, can hold play up a lot better, can drop back and influence the attack, can give you a more fluid system. I mean, you look at some of the English teams and you look at the English teams that are effective, and they're teams that play without what I would call a real out and out nine. Deno is not really for me an out and out nine. Okay, that's not what he does. You know, you look at the likes of Arsenal, likes of Liverpool, you look at the likes of Chelsea, you look at the likes of who else? Taking Newcastle, for example. They have players who drop back and away and don't just go and stand up and make themselves the man at the top. Okay, they move around, they're more fluid in the way they play, they move the back four around, they create spaces, which in Scotland, when you're playing against the low block, will provide extra opportunities to score, provide more gaps in the defense and more chance to exploit those gaps. So for me, Deno playing up front would make much more sense than Cyril Dessers. He's faster, he stays on side, his movement's better, his goal scoring record across his career is better, he's more skillful. He's just an all-round better player than Cyril Dessers. And let's face it, when he was bought, we paid £6 million for him, and we've got to see whether that £6 million, is actually worth it. And he was bought, I think, as the starting striker. I don't think Dessers was ever bought to start. I think it was always Deno's place to lose. And unfortunately, he's been unlucky with injuries. Now, this is my team idea, okay? Until Cortez gets fit, if he ever does this season. So Butland in goal, and I know there's been some doubts over him, but you've got to have a leader on there. He's the leader, he's the vice captain, he's better than Kelly, etc. Sterling at right back, Suter, Casanwejo, and Ridvan. I just think put Casanwejo alongside Suter. He's quicker, he's stronger, he'll help provide balance there. Ridvan on the left back, if he stays fit, because I want to move Hefte up to left wing, because I want a quick, speedy left winger. Because one of the things that this team does not have is enough pace in the forward areas. And putting Hefte forward to the left-hand side, for me, will give us more pace, more threat going forward. Barron and Raskin as the 2 in front of the back 4. Bayrami as the 10 with Cheney one side, Hefte the other, and Deno in the middle. Now, like I said, not having Tav behind him will get the better out of Cheney, give Cheney more chance to get forward, be faster going forward, be quicker, not having to slow down, slow the play down, which he does when Tav plays behind him. Having the Sterling there will give us a bit more pace and directness on the right side, as well as obviously on the left side. Ridvan is quick, direct, Hefte quick, direct. And like I said, one of the things this team has lacked over recent games is pace going forward. I'm trying to get as much pace into this team as is possible at this moment in time. So that's my 11. I think that will be effective. I think that would more than easily get us above Aberdeen. As for playing Celtic, who knows? You just don't know, do you? Because you don't know what Clement's got planned. You don't know his tactics. But I think, if you go out there and those 11 players play to the height of their abilities and they play the ball quickly, aggressively and directly, then I think they could easily knock Celtic out of their stride. Celtic have shown that they're not unbeatable. They're not unstoppable if you go after them, if you get in their faces and don't stand off them or sit off them or try and, play, but knock the ball around on the edge of your 18-yard box inside your own half like we do and let them come on to us, which we've done in every single All Firm game under Clement so far. That's my thinking. Look, that's 5 reasons, perhaps 6 if you look at the team, 6 reasons to be cheerful, positive, have hope. Trying to find something, guys. Trying to find something to cling on to. Let me know what you think in the comments. Well, thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation, guys. As always, been a pleasure speaking to you here. Smash the like, smash the sub, comment, share, do all that great stuff for me. And remember always, we are the people.